let's try another fraction one before moving on. 1/9 equals 5/6 minus m divided by 3. So a lot of things going on here. First thing I want to do is I want to get the 5/6 to the other side. Now in order to subtract to the other side, they have to have a common denominator. So between 9 and 6, we don't need to multiply those because they have common things that we can work with that are smaller. What's common between 9 and 6? 18. So I need to multiply this one by 2 and this one by 3. So I'm going to get 2/18 equals 15/18 minus, and I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this as 1/3 m. Now I can easily subtract 15/18 to the other side. So 2 minus 15 will give me negative 13/18 equals negative 1/3 m. From here, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. And because we also have that negative, we're going to multiply by the negative reciprocal. So we're going to multiply by negative 3. And remember, you can always write it with a denominator of 1 to make it look easier. So then 3 and 3 cancel, 1 and 1 cancel, and a negative times a negative becomes a positive, leaving us with that m all by itself. Over here, we can see that 3 and 18 have commonality. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 18 divided by 3 is 6. And then we can see that we have simplified those numbers. Now, negative 1 times negative 13 will give me positive 13, and 1 times 6 gives me 6. So m equals 13/6. Now that we've talked about fractions, let's go ahead and move on to decimals. (3.5x minus 0.02x equals 1.24. Lots of decimals. The easiest thing to do when you have decimals is to multiply by a power of 10 so that there's no more decimals. Now, this is 3.5. The 5 is in the 10th spot. This is 0.02, and that's in the 100th spot, and 1.24, which is also in the 100th spot. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply every number by 100. By doing that, we can move the decimal and make our numbers have decimals no more. 100 times 3.5 will move our decimal, and we now have 350x. If I multiply negative 0.02 times 100, we now have negative 2x. And lastly, 1.24 times 100 gives me 124. Now we don't have decimals, which will make this a little bit easier. Now I can combine like terms to get 348x equals 124. Here we'll divide by 348, which gives us a rather large fraction. But as we can tell right away, they're both divisible by 2. But could they be divisible by 4? Yes, they can. If it's easier to divide by 2 twice, that will help. So let's divide by 2 twice. So if I divide 124 and divide it by 2, we're going to get a value of 62. If I divide 348 by 2, we're going to get 174. Now see, they still could be simplified, so we're going to divide by 2 one more time to each number. 62 divided by 2 gives us 31, and 174 divided by 2 is 87. So this gives us our final answer. So we could have divided by 4 right away if you want to do divided by 4. But you could also think about dividing it by 2 twice to get your answer. Sometimes one is easier than the other, but you can make that choice. Okay, let's do our last one for this unit. 0.5x minus 2.325 equals 3.95. Now we have to look, where is our smallest decimal? So our smallest decimal is going to be right here, 0.325. It has the most digits behind the decimal. So that means we need to multiply by the place that it's in. And this one is in the thousandth place. So we're going to multiply every number by 1,000. So 0.5x times 1,000 will give me 500x. 2.325 times 1,000 will give me negative 2,325, equaling, multiplied by 1,000, 3,950. Now we're going to add 500x equals, add down, we get 6,275. Last but not least, we're going to divide by 500. Now here we can see that we can divide by 5, and we also could divide by 25. Now because this number is so big, using a calculator can help sometimes. So we're going to divide by 25. So 6,275 divided by 25 equals 251. 500 divided by 25 is 20. Now these numbers won't have anything in common, and we have reached our final answer.